Hey guys, we just came back from the VA and from the bank, and we were able to get a lot accomplished, especially at the VA. But at the bank, we actually have to come back next month because they need us to do another thing for the business.
They want us to type out a letterhead
Yeah, they want us to type out a
to
letterhead.
start, but that's some professional stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, while we were in the parking lot, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, geez, we got all our documents in order. You know, why do they want us to go type out a letter? I know if we went to any other bank, they wouldn't be asking for that, for some kind of letterhead. You know, you went to any other bank, they wouldn't ask for that. But you know what? We don't have a problem with that. You know, they should want to be professional and hold themselves to a higher standard. You know? And so, although, you know, when you go to open up an account and they turn down your money because they need for you to write up a letter or something so much, it could make you disgruntled. But I look at it like this: wow, they're not like, oh, we just want to take your money or something like that. They're like, hey, write out this letter, and then we can do business. So, I have no problem with it. You know, went to the VA facility. My wife took, you know, she's never been because I don't go, but I went today and got some the start process on some of my health problems to get that stuff taken care of. One is with my shoulder. Been needing surgery on my shoulder for some years now, and I've been putting it off and off and off. I got the X-rays done, talked to a doctor. You know, I come back next month and they'll refer me to a specialist that can actually do the surgery. You know, think about if I would have took care of it a year ago. You know, we could be that much closer to having that resolved. But everything happens for a reason. It's going to get resolved. I'm eventually going to get the shoulder surgery. Also, for my knees, I've had since I was in the military, I've had horrible knees. My knees, basically, I blew both of my knees out, and did irreversible damage on my right ankle. Even though I have problems with my left ankle as well, I did the damage on my right ankle, and so they did another exam on my knees. Unfortunately, since my time in the military, my knees have gotten worse. But they were going to give me a shot in my butt.
Your hip.
My butt, hip, butt. I refused I declined on the
shot.
I really think it's a steroid or a cortisone or something like that. I refused the shot. I feel like this, you know, I've been dealing with the pain for so long. I don't complain about it. That what's the point? What's even the point? If it's not to a point where, you know, I'm completely debilitated by it, and I need to get surgery. Everybody deals with a little pain. You know, I deal with pain in my shoulder and my knees every day, to the point where I don't think about it because it's constant pain. It doesn't go away. So I don't make a gripe about it or anything about it. I just go on about my life. And but they did write me a prescription for anti-inflammatory because my knees are full of fluid and they're inflamed really bad. But yeah, they'll send it in the mail. They gave me a 30-day supply that they'll send in the mail. So when I get it, we'll see if it helps. Hopefully it will. You know, I'm a larger guy, but still I would like to go on a run and go run, which I can't do right now.
Well, he said that if you take the pills and you try to go for a run, then
It'll still
it'll mess it up still.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't run. Me and my wife tried it. She ended up injuring herself when
I
I took her for a run.
I injured myself because he pushed me so hard that my knee popped. So I have knee problems and I have ankle problems because of all the intense workouts that we used to do. So,
And that's when we had time to do intense workouts. Of course, since that point, uh, I gained weight since we stopped
I
working
have
out
too.
since we started working out on that magnitude, which we were working out really, really heavy and really hard. But I was in excellent shape, and we don't have the time to do it anymore. Even when we did have the time, I stopped going as hard.
Yeah, we used to go to the gym and be there for about 30 minutes and you'll be done.
So what I just did was, for anybody who's watching, okay, this car, I was going. We're traveling on a road that's meant to go 55 miles an hour. Now me, I always drive above the speed limit. I mean that's just me. I'm gonna admit it. You know, can't say I'm a habitual speed junkie or something like that. It's just when I hop in the car, I like to get from my destination to destination. I don't like to spend a lot of time in sitting in a car. Matter of fact, I don't like to spend a lot of time confined in any place. I don't like being confined. And so, as I'm traveling along on this 55 mile an hour road, I'm going 65 miles an hour. This car is riding my tail. We're on a country road. You know, it was just easier just to pull over and let them pass. So if you just saw that while I swerved into the opposite lane. Then too, I don't really like people driving behind me. I don't know. I get a level of paranoia when people drive behind me, and I'll admit it. That has to do with the combat tours that I've been a part of ever since I left Iraq. I don't like people standing behind me. I don't like people driving behind me. I don't like to eat at public places. I don't even like being around people, to be honest with you. We went to the VA. There's plenty of people there at the facility, but they were all veterans. And as you look around, I see when I go there. Another reason why I don't like to go there is because when I go there, I see a lot of myself in other people, and I don't like that because I like to consider myself an individual. So I don't like to see people who have the same tendencies or the same characteristics or have the same mannerisms that I do. I don't like to be around other people who have the same mannerisms that I do. And as you go there, you see a lot of people suffering with a lot of mental anguish. And albeit I have my mental anguish and my mental problems, I just don't like seeing people in that state. And there's a lot of messed up people there. I'm not saying that I'm in a better space mentally than other people, but as I explained it to my wife and the people there, speaking to some of the facility workers that work there, you know, the reason why I stopped coming is because years ago I used to come, but I wasn't quite where I'm at right now, and I gave the people who were working there a hard time, and of course I'm in a little bit of a better space now. You know, I kind of understand myself a little bit more, and I'm more aware of my actions now. still, I do feel a sense of guilt for how I treated the people who work at the facility. And as we were speaking with the some employees there, it's commonplace to have new veterans come there and lash out because just getting out of the military and you want help. Things don't move at the same speed that they move when you're in the military. When you're in the military, something needs to get done. It's like the snap of your finger because there's no time to delay things because you're always in transition between a combat zone or a training exercise. Things move along very fast. And then when you get out of the military and you have to deal with the veteran system, things slow down to a turtle's pace. And so it makes it where, you can easily misconstrue what's happening as a personal assault on you, which is not the case. And so a lot of times veterans do act out, and it makes their job difficult because, at the end of the day, they're a person just like you. They have a family that they have to go home to. You're adding extra stress onto their lives, and they're trying to provide a service to veterans. And so this time, I had my wife with me here. It's a whole different experience. I haven't been in about 4 years. It's a totally different experience. It was some cases there, especially speaking to the doctor, where I didn't feel like what I was trying to convey to him was being understood, and when I was trying to explain certain things to him, he would put it in a way like as I was explaining why I don't do certain things as it being neglect or
It's being sarcastic.
he was being and I don't deal well with dry humor, but at the same time, my composure pretty well. I didn't go off and be like, hey, mother, who do you think you're talking to?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that. And actually by maintaining some discipline and some self-control, I was actually more proud of myself than if I would have lashed out, made things more difficult for myself. Also, made it where when I go back and have to see a doctor there again, it's a bad relationship. Or worst case happened, which happened to me one time, which made me completely quit. It's one time I went there and I got put into a psych ward for 30 days. And let me tell you, after that experience, and then when when I was a little bit younger when I got put in a psych ward. So you get administered to a psych ward. You can't leave when you feel like it's not like you can be like, hey, I'm in a psych ward. I'm about to walk up out of this mother. So I got very destructive and became a bum. And they had something for that too. It was called Thorazine in a straitjacket. And after that experience, I went to into an inpatient program, and I was there for about 5 or 6 months. And fortunately, I couldn't complete the program to reap the benefits and rewards for completing the program because, of course, me being younger, I couldn't hold it together, and it was a missed opportunity. But I say, I look now and I look at the guys. I went up there and I got to see the guys who are in the program now, and as they were in the program now, and they were at the stage where they were getting a job, they were getting housing and stuff like that, and I was able to speak with some of them, and they have some of the same, the exact same issues that I have. But I was able to give them some encouragement to kind of hold those pieces together, because there's a huge reward if you can hold it together. While you're at the facility, the medication that they prescribe for you to keep yourself in balance, to just take it while you're there, even though it messes with you mentally. I felt like when I did take the medication, I wasn't as sharp. And going from being a shooter, a precision shooter, your mind is everything. When you're a precision shooter, when you go from being a marksman or a sharpshooter, your mind is everything, and anything that tampers with your mind, you kind of stay away from it, except for some reason the alcohol, which now I've learned now at the time of being away from the military, I've gotten away from the alcohol, which I'm very, very happy that I did, because at one point, I felt like I was drowning in an addiction to alcohol, but it wasn't. I think it was a coping mechanism, a self-medicating experience. I was self-medicating because, harsh drugs aren't my thing. Harsh drugs have never been my thing, so I couldn't go with the harsh drugs, and I've never liked taking medication and stuff like that. So, I turned to the alcohol, and I almost drowned in the alcohol abuse, and I was able to beat that. And so, anybody out there who has alcohol problems and they're listening to it, I'm a veteran. While I was in the military, I drank heavy, very, very heavy while I was in the military. When I got out of the military, I began drinking even heavier because of the lack of duty and the lack of responsibility. I began drinking even heavier, and plus the feeling of, I've never felt value for me being a veteran. I never got that felt value, or that felt appreciation for my service. I never got to feel that. And so, being a veteran, that at one point, that was very hard on me, that I didn't get that appreciation. And so I can say I identify with the Vietnam vets and how they didn't get appreciated. Now, I don't like to paint things along racial lines, but I will say that, during my time in the military, my time before the military, and my time after the military, I'm in Alabama. So, being in Alabama, it's Alabama. It's thick in the air. The racial tension here in this state is very, very high. Racial tension is very bad out here. Would I say that would be an excuse for me to fail in life? An excuse for me to not exceed? No way. No way would I make that excuse for anything that I have going on in my life. That is not an excuse or a concern, but it exists, and it exists on a level out here that is oh my goodness. But where the racial tension is at, there's also benefits. So don't think if you're looking at Alabama and I'm the only person that you've you've had any contact with from the state of Alabama say, "Oh my goodness, Alabama is just some racial dump land." It is racially divided, but at the same time, there is opportunity here. Simply, I wouldn't say simply because of the work. The jobs are just like anywhere else right now in America. There's large competition for jobs, even here. But the difference between here in Alabama and everywhere else in the world is you can take what you're paying wherever in whatever state you're living in, and you can cut that cost in half and live in Alabama. And that's the one good thing about this state. And I think that's the one thing that makes this Alabama a place that has such a large population of not just black people, but at one point had a huge population of Hispanics. And of course, Alabama came out with a House bill that ran off most of the Hispanics, ran them out of the state. Which, I got to say that, I definitely agree with a lot of things that President Trump is doing, because no matter what, right is right and wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter who delivers the message, whether he's misogynistic or racist or xenophobic or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to classify him as. One thing about him, with all those things going on, the bottom line is a lot of the things that he says is right. It might not be political the way that he says it or the way that he brings it out, but how can you deny that social services need to go out the window? They need to get rid of them, and they need to get rid of them ASAP. At least get rid of them to revamp the system, because as you look out here in Alabama, this state is a wasteland, and I would say probably about 60% of the people who live in this state are on social services, because the economy here is non-existent. This is a poor man's state.
Going on 23 minutes.
It's almost time to end this video. Hey, I thank you guys for watching the video. If you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you for listening to the information. We all have thoughts. We all have goals. Hopefully we all have goals. We're just making it our business to put our thoughts out to the world, and so if somebody doesn't like it, a perspective of ours or something that we do, if you don't like it, we would hope that you would be an adult and voice your disdain for what we have to say or our agriculture practices in a more professional way, but of course there are people out in this world who have some sort of sickness or have some sort of they have no anything social about them, and most people are narcissists in the world. They just undiagnosed. Most people are narcissistic. Hell, even my sister is narcissistic. So I can understand how somebody else would be that way. But one thing that people don't realize when they're dealing with the internet is when you're dealing with somebody on the internet, a lot of people remove the human factor, and they'll do some outlandish things. But a lot of times the stuff that they're doing nowadays, it comes right back on you. If you're making threats to people, or you're harassing people, nowadays it's become so prevalent that people are starting to get tracked down and starting to get lawsuits for that stuff. So I'm not saying that we should live in a melancholy society. I'm saying that you should be free to voice your opinion. I should be free to voice my opinion but at the same time, a level of respect, because you don't know, like, you could be saying something harassing to one person, and he could be a complete lunatic, show up at your door and blow your brains back about 75 inches. And, you know, your life ends, his life ends, because he had to come put 2 or 3 holes in your head because you didn't have respect for someone else and you didn't have respect for yourself. And I do agree, you know, if you spoke inappropriately to somebody and they came and they put a barrel in your face.
Baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Okay. Well, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. And we'll see you on the next one.